Welcome back to another episode of The Curious Consumer. I'm Nate.
I'm Jenna. We run a media company called Express Checkout. We write a newsletter that goes out twice weekly, sharing all of the news in consumer brands and retail. And we also obviously record this podcast and put it out weekly at The Curious Consumer. And we have an Instagram where we're also sharing all of the news and the latest in consumer brands and some of our favorite things that we have the privilege of trying at Express Checkout. Yeah.
We try so many things. And the Instagram just hit 26K?
Crazy.
We're
because
just about
I
to
feel
hit
like I
that?
just wrote that we hit 20K, not 20. 20,000. And now we're at 26,000. So the growth has been really exciting and is starting to prove our thesis that just people are curious about consumer brands. And we are too. And that's why we're here.
But Jenna, it's also 2026 now. Speaking of
the number 26.
It's 2026.
It is.
Do you have any snacking resolutions for the new year?
Snacking resolutions. I would say I don't know. I was going to say try new things, but I'm always trying new things.
Famously.
To see how much accidental protein I can get in without trying.
Ooh.
Yeah. I want to go through a day just having like snacks that I don't even process have protein in them and then retroactively be like, how much protein was that? And I guarantee you it'll be
a lot.
I'm like, I don't know.
You're
I don't know
be jacked by the end of the year.
Yeah, just from eating snacks because there's protein in everything. So that's not a snacking resolution. That's a bucket item.
A bucket
list.
Items.
What's yours?
I probably should have less candy.
Never.
I won't, but I should.
Never.
I'm prone to caffeine.
So Nate and I don't normally work together in person, but we did a few weeks ago, and I went to your apartment and you had like a bowl of cereal that you had so kindly poured out for yourself, ready to eat. You had like 2 bites. You didn't eat the rest of it. And then you just like had candy at 9 a.m. And I was like, okay, no, for sure. That's Mm-hmm. But like the effort was there. The intention was there.
It was a lot of effort on my part. But look, I'm having a banana right now. I'm having an energy drink. I'm being very thoughtful.
2026 Nate, who is he?
Mm-hmm.
That banana isn't a Starburst? Insane.
No.
That's what I love too, is like you try the coolest snacks and you try like cool new candies all the time too. But like the snack that you were having was Starburst.
Yeah, it was left over from Halloween.
I love it. Okay, good resolution.
I think so. But I think 2026 will be a great year. And we're already off to a really good start. We're 6 days in.
We totally are. I know. And there's already been a lot of exciting news. And it'll be fun to get into it. Shall we?
Let's do it. Yeah.
All
right. First one, which is something I love this space. Frozen food. I think it's so much fun. So Dropout, which is a new CPG holding company, they already launched with a company called Jams, which is an Uncrustables competitor. They launched this week Bronco in Targets nationwide. Bronco is frozen breakfast sandwiches with no seed oils, of course, high protein, so it's a bagel that they've like custom formulated. There's egg, and then there's turkey bacon, and I think turkey sausage.
Yeah.
It looks really fun. It's leaning heavily on nostalgia, and that's something that Dropout is like explicitly betting on, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah, even if you go to their website, it's a very like early 2000s website vibe, like almost user unfriendly, I would say.
I miss that
on
vibe.
Purpose. Yes.
Yeah.
It's really smart, fun branding, and the different options, the turkey bacon or the turkey sausage. The turkey bacon has 15 grams of protein. The turkey sausage one has 21 grams of protein, which
Hell yeah.
That discrepancy is actually quite large. But what I thought was kind of interesting, I mean, we've had frozen breakfast sandwiches forever. Hello, Jimmy Dean, which also we were writing about Jimmy Dean, and I was like, I just keep picturing the ad from when we were kids of like a guy wearing a huge sun costume.
Oh my God, I love that ad.
It was a good one. But these have existed for a while. These, though, obviously are quote unquote cleaner ingredients, higher protein. And because of that, they are over $7 for a 2-pack, which is a lot of money for 2 bagels.
No, it is. I mean, the premiumization of frozen food, I think, is like, that's what we really talked about in this deep dive. And I think for me, that's what's kind of most exciting about frozen food. Like it shed this perception that it's lesser value.
Yes.
Especially in terms of quality, but then also usually it's a little bit cheaper. But the perception of frozen food for many years was just like, it's not high quality, it's not as healthy. But like slowly over the past really 5 years, maybe a little bit longer, I think the perception of the quality, the perception of the health benefits that get trapped by freezing the product, but also there's been really cool brands launching with really nice branding. Yes, they're more expensive. They're less expensive than a restaurant, but they are nice. And I personally think that Trader Joe's is a big impetus for consumers' perception shifting for frozen food. Everything about Trader Joe's makes it very accessible to try everything. It makes it feel a little bit healthier. It makes it feel a little bit more premium. And Trader Joe's frozen foods, they have consistently ranked in some of the top food items that sell every year. And I think it's lent itself to consumers being interested in frozen food beyond just like some of the cheap stuff that's in the frozen section.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's another one of those things that COVID also played a huge role in it. So Trader Joe's kind of set the stage of giving people a reason to even enter the frozen aisle. They did a great job with like the product quality, as you mentioned, but also just like innovation and discovery. Trader Joe's in general does a great job of always coming out with cool new products. And they replicated that in their frozen aisle in a way that other retailers or brands had not been. But COVID, I mean, people had to cook from home. They couldn't go out to restaurants. And so they entered the frozen aisle significantly more. And that behavior didn't really end up decreasing after COVID ended. So I saw a stat that in March of 2020, the frozen aisle sales went up 21%, and that kind of just never went back down. Yeah. So that behavior repeated, and it is interesting because, frozen has been viewed as like the value option. Frozen berries are much cheaper than fresh berries. And so there's this interesting trade-off because we have been taught to shop in the frozen aisle as a place to save money. And then at the same time, as these new premium products come out, that proposition is not really there anymore because it's going to be more expensive than making the food yourself. So you're paying for convenience. And now you're also paying for these like artisanal products that you couldn't get elsewhere. So as you said, there's a slew of new entrants that have come in the past 5 years. A lot of chefs have introduced their products in a frozen format. I know you actually interviewed like the best frozen pizza in the world, Yeah, so Anthony Mangieri, he runs Una Napolitana in New York, which has consistently been ranked the #1 pizzeria in the world by like some Italian conglomerate that ranks pizzerias globally. And it's consistently been like #1 or #2 or #3. And Anthony decided to launch a frozen pizza company. And it's delicious. And it's like, there's also just like a lot of other frozen pizzas that are really good that have stepped up their game from just, DiGiorno. But a lot of chefs and a lot of restaurants have been leaning into the frozen game, which is allowed for the premium nature to continue and for people to buy it because they're like, oh, okay, it's from a restaurant. It's from Mimi Chang's. It's from this pizzeria. It's restaurant quality, but in the frozen section. Right. And people like that. And chefs are getting in even with private label. Which is so interesting. Which is so cool. The Target private label, Good and Gather, they did a collab with the James Beard award-winning chef. And it was delicious. Like, it was so cool to see that. Yeah, even private label has gotten really premium. And in 2025, private label frozen brands saw 3.8% sales increase. So there's definitely been a response. And yeah, the freezer aisle has just been really interesting. I know you also interviewed a few months ago the founder and CEO of Mason-Dixie Foods.
Yes.
Which Mason-Dixie is a breakfast restaurant, basically.
It was like a biscuit and breakfast restaurant. They were really well known for their biscuits. They had a food stand and a farmer's market, and they started selling frozen just because they had to, because people wanted it. And they slowly grew from that, and eventually a Whole Foods buyer like stopped by just to buy biscuits and breakfast sandwiches and was like, we love this, would love to have this in our store. And they've innovated on the process of freezing some of their breakfast burritos so it doesn't get soggy when you reheat them. And it's all their products are really good, and like you heat it up and you're like, oh, this tastes fresh and delicious. And there's so many examples of this as well across the frozen category.
Yeah, I specifically even wanted to talk about that interview because she brought up such an interesting point, she being the founder and CEO of Mason-Dixie, Aisha, which is that retailers have really relied historically on these low margin, high volume brands. So in normal person speak, that means inexpensive brands. The retailers aren't really getting that much money on each purchase. So think like $1 breakfast burrito. And high volume because they're cheap, so people are buying them frequently. And her thesis is really just that retailers really need to start breaking the cycle. And if they feature better for you products more prominently that are more expensive, they are higher margin and maybe lower volume, they will reap the benefits. And something that I said in the newsletter that I just think this is a really interesting point is because frozen doesn't rely on expiration date. By that, I mean, like frozen products don't expire that much. So the repurchase rate generally, I would guess, in a frozen aisle is lesser than somewhere where expiration date is one of the factors.
Right.
So it makes sense to not rely on volume as much. It makes sense to really prioritize higher margin products from a retailer perspective because they're going to be getting more money on each purchase for purchases that then sit in someone's freezer for a while before they need to repurchase it. So I thought that was a really interesting point. And she also said consumers don't really know what they want until they see it. And that is totally true. And so when there are more premium foods introduced to the frozen aisle, they will start buying them. And we've already seen that start to happen. So that just leads to the conclusion that a brand like Dropout, which is introducing these frozen premium better for you brands, they probably aren't betting that someone like a Jimmy Dean consumer is going to upgrade to this sandwich instead. They're probably betting that someone who has been avoiding the frozen aisle because it didn't have better for you options, it didn't have premium options, is now going to enter the frozen aisle again and buy a product like theirs.
Yeah. And I think that's the smart way to go. It's like you get this consumer that we're talking about that hasn't done it in the past, or you try to convert some of the Trader Joe's shoppers as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Who are already willing to do it, already willing to like get something that is positioned as better for you and higher quality and maybe more globally inspired or have unique flavors or unique ingredients. Like you can get that consumer.
Yeah. Unless
really cool.
Trader Joe's introduces their own version of a Bronco bagel, which who's to say they won't, because they are notorious for launching a private label version of whatever buzzy brand there is. Actually, we should just talk about that right now. They just did that. They finally launched a prebiotic soda.
Wild how long it took.
Yeah. We say finally because we have seen private label prebiotic sodas in like virtually every other retailer. And usually Trader Joe's is pretty early on that trend. So this is their Poppi / Olipop competitor. Pretty much looks the same. They launched in 2 flavors.
I'm excited to try it. They're less expensive, or at least it's like $1.99. They have a cola and then a strawberry vanilla.
Yes. Yeah. Which are those are Olipop flavors. However, it's almost like a perfect blend because the flavors look a lot like Olipop, but they use agave and apple cider vinegar, which are ingredients both actually used by Poppi. So it's almost like this silly little blend between the two. It's almost like they were like, we know we got to go for one of these.
Yeah.
Because Olipop uses chicory root and cassava.
Right.
And they don't use apple cider vinegar. And then Poppi uses agave inulin and apple cider vinegar.
I'm excited to try it. I think they'll do really well. They get late mover advantage, and they get the Trader Joe's bump.
So true. But at the same time, I do think there's something about the I was about to say heated rivalry. It is a heated rivalry, but
it is a heated rivalry. No, it is.
The heated rivalry between Olipop and Poppi. That's a very popular show right now, if people don't know. The heated rivalry between Olipop and Poppi that makes people very brand loyal. Like, it's like, I am team Olipop or I am team Poppi, and the people on either team are very loyal to those brands. And I would guess kind of don't really opt for the private label options that much. Similar to like a Coke and Pepsi battle.
Yeah.
You're either Coke or you're Pepsi. You are diehard for whatever you are, and you're not getting the store brand of either. So it'll be interesting to see how people actually respond to this. I think that they are very, very brand loyal in the prebiotic soda space.
Yeah, but I think Trader Joe's as a player in this space could convert a few shoppers. Like more than a Whole Foods launching a prebiotic soda.
Yeah, I think it's more like similar to what I said about Dropout brands and Bronco Bagels. Like, I think it might be for maybe a more value conscious shopper who's like, I've been hearing all this stuff about Olipop and Poppi, but I don't want to spend like almost $3 for a soda. Maybe they'll try Trader Joe's version, but it'll be harder to convert the Olipop and Poppi loyalists, is my thesis.
I mean, they're not going to make a $2 billion brand out of just their prebiotic sodas. I don't think they're going to convert that many people. But I think a lot of people will try it. And I'm curious to see if they keep it as a consistent product on their shelves, or if they like ditch it after a few months.
Or if they expand into new flavors.
Right.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Because they really don't have soda. Like, they don't have a soda option if you go there. Like, that is a category they are missing on shelf.
I hadn't actually thought about that. That's so true.
Yeah. I just thought about that. Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing.
And now all of our listeners just thought about it too. You're welcome.
I'm going to go to Trader Joe's today and be like, are you sure? And someone will prove us wrong, actually. Yes.
Well, please don't. That's just rude. Let's move on to our next little story here. The growing aisle of canned milk. Wow, what a sentence.
That's like horrifying, actually.
Canned, ultra filtered, high protein, low sugar milk.
That sounds like dystopian almost. Like, it sounds like the formula that I like would need to drink in 2200.
We're getting close to Soylent territory here.
Yes.
So Bear Bells, which is an incredibly popular protein bar company that I would be surprised if you don't know. And if you shop at Trader Joe's, you definitely know it, because that's where they've definitely grown their business. They have launched canned milks. Jenna has one here. I have some in my fridge. I love that it's called Choco Milk Drink. Milk Drink.
This is what I mean. It's like really dystopian. Or it almost sounds like it's like a foreign product that the translation got a little messed up.
It's almost infantilizing, but I kind of think in kind of in a good way. Like it's similar to the Dropout brands.
Infantilizing in a good way is crazy.
It's similar to the Dropout brands where it's a nostalgia play in a way. Like, it makes you feel a little bit juvenile. It brings you back to positive memories of your childhood. Let's phrase it like that.
We were all drinking high protein, ultra filtered milk drink.
Sure. But you know, like the flavors that they launched, strawberry, chocolate, and vanilla. Those are very
Nesquik
they're classic.
Adjacent.
They're Nesquik adjacent. They're high protein. They're low sugar. It's fun.
Yeah,
and
the branding's cute.
Milk should be, but like we're drinking milk. I mean, there's a lot of brands doing this. There's Slate. There's Nuri. Fairlife famously has their bottled high protein, lactose free milks. My wife is drinking the Fairlife chocolate milk. She literally texted me this morning, "Hey, can you get me more of those Fairlife chocolate milks, please?" This is at like 5 a.m.
More milk, please. Like,
More
who
milk,
are we?
please.
Are kids. We are little kids. We want our chalky milk. Like, that's so crazy. No, yeah, I mean,
I get it. It's good.
for sure. Fairlife, I feel like, really kicked off the ultra filtered milk ready to drink category.
My God.
Because I mean, they are boasting like 40 grams of protein in some of their, I think it's called their Core Power SKU. But others have been around for bottled protein shakes, which are also effectively like milk drinks in some way. Like Premier Protein has been around for a while, but it's still, that's like a protein shake. And these are more milk forward. And the base ingredient is what we said, ultra filtered milk, which is basically milk that is filtered to get rid of more of the sugar and make it very protein and calcium concentrated, especially protein. And that's how they're getting such high protein. So we've seen a few launches in the past few years. Slate and Nuri are ones that are top of mind for me, especially because Nuri is part of Costco's ever growing ready to drink ambient protein section. Ambient means non-refrigerated, just out in the aisle. There's so many in Costco now. It's wild. Nuri is delicious also. And it's 30 grams of protein. I really have to
try it. I love that. And I really need to try it. They have a lot of flavors too, right?
No. They have chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. At least at Costco. They have chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry also. I said this when Bear Bells launched their protein soda. They have such good flavors in their bars, and they're known for having such innovative flavors. And then they launched chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. I don't know. It's kind of interesting to me. This is the next era of milk, is canned milk. And yeah, as I said, Bear Bells had already launched this protein soda. We spoke about this on the pod before because my gripe with it was that it's called protein soda, but it actually has 200 milligrams of caffeine in it. So it's just an energy drink with protein in it. And that was misleading. But point being, clearly Bear Bells is making a bet on beverages. They have seen so much success in bars. It's interesting because beverage is a notoriously difficult category. It costs a ton to ship liquid. It's just competitive also. Like there's already so many of these. So it's interesting that this is the bet that they are taking. But the fact that it's ambient and not refrigerated is a win for them. Launching a refrigerated beverage is a whole other beast.
Yeah. I mean, Bear Bells they have a beverage in the UK. It's in a bottle, not a can.
Right.
So they have some background in this, but we'll see how this goes. I'm excited for more Milkies.
I hate it. We're just adults walking around with our ultra filtered Milkies.
I know.
Oh.
I know. Well, okay. Speaking of adult food, sushi. I think it's great transition.
That is adult food, actually. I stand by that.
But unfortunately, this sushi brand that we're talking about is shut down recently. So Conscious Foods, spelled with a K, not a C, the first letter. They are a plant-based, ready-to-eat sushi company. They had onigiri, they had rolls. They unfortunately just shut down at the end of the year. We both really liked their product. I was very impressed with their product when I tried it at trade shows and eventually actually bought some. I bought some on Fresh Direct and then also saw it in retail. Like they were sold nationwide, but they just shut down. And there's a lot of different reasons. But I think one of them is right now, there's not enough consumers like you and I.
Meaning just people who are willing to try like something weird and new.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's an oversimplification. I'm not saying that you made this oversimplification, but more broadly, that this is just another example of plant-based failing because this is a very specific product line. It is frozen sushi products, which generally, I don't know many people buying frozen sushi. So asking them, one, to go to the frozen section to buy frozen sushi, and two, for them to then realize it's also plant-based, is one too many risk, I think, for the average consumer to take. So this is this was going to be challenging for them. Like, I don't think that the stage was set in their favor. I think the only way that a brand like this can succeed, and I really hope they do come back at some point because, as you said, like we both tried and love this product, is if plant-based sushi becomes more of a universal food item in restaurants or food service.
Correct.
And again, I wanted to add a little bit more color to this story and not just say it's like, oh, plant-based is failing, by sharing other news that also happened this week, which is that this company called Blue Nalu, which is a startup actually based in San Diego, which makes cultivated bluefin tuna toro, which is
Cool.
like the very fatty, expensive part of tuna. They just raised $11 million. So that brought their total funding to $129 million. And they have a lot of more like consumer brand focused VCs that are investing in them right now. For example, City Capital, who is an investor in Midday Squares. And the reason that people are taking a bet on this brand is because they've really focused on food service being their entry point as a company. And so I just think as brands like hopefully Blue Nalu enter into food service where people are a little bit more willing to try, like it's more beneficial for a restaurant to try this new product because it's very hard for them on a supply chain level to get bluefin tuna toro. And they've also achieved price parity, so it's cheaper for them. And typically just chefs are probably a little bit more open to experimenting with new ingredients. They enter that way. Consumers try it on a menu, and then they're open to trying it at home or in retailer.
Yes.
And that is how this progression needs to happen for plant-based foods to win.
It's so funny because that's how Impossible and Beyond Burger were launching. That's where they got all this press and this support. They were launching in really high-end restaurants because it didn't have price parity at that point when it was launching. You have the consumer base that's willing to kind of try this. You have the people who know how to make food and can play around with it. And I think they all went to market too fast, partially because they also raised like tech companies when they like were but weren't. That's a whole other thing. But I think you are spot on, and I think the way plant-based food makes its big triumphant comeback is it lives in food service for a longer amount of time and really validates itself as alternatives and as good tasting alternatives and good textural alternatives that consumers want and need, because the consumer's barely ready for globally inspired flavors right now. Like we're still not quite there as an American consumer base, at least.
Right.
People are unfortunately like not super ready for something wildly different yet. Granted, I will say I did like Impossible Meat, still do. I think it's one of the best plant-based meats out there. Yeah,
it's great. Yeah, you're totally right. You're totally right because you agreed with everything I just said. But
yeah, exactly.
I love when that happens. Yeah, and I think also just people are more open to trying new things in a restaurant setting and then are excited to try it at home. So yeah, point being, the Conscious Foods headline of like another plant-based food item fails is just not nuanced enough to capture the whole story. Right. And I predict there will actually be a resurgence of plant-based. It'll just look a little bit different. And
100%.
It maybe needs to be a little more of a slow roll, I would say, as opposed to just thrusting it at consumers and hoping that they bite, because they literally bite, because they won't, because it's scary to people.
Correct.
Anyway, that's on that story. But the next story actually nothing to do with sushi or food.
Not edible at all. Please don't consume these products. Do not eat.
We've been talking a lot about skincare and beauty brands lately. There's just been more news than usual, I feel like, especially in skincare. And a category that has been around for a while is really starting to evolve and see a lot of new entrants, especially from skincare and beauty brands, which is body care.
Yes.
So we had two news stories this week. First being Tower 28, which is a viral skincare and makeup brand, launching its Rescue and Relief body wash. It's specifically formulated for eczema, actually. And Jones Road Beauty, which is Bobbi Brown's second company, more geared towards like mature skin, is also launching a body collection. We're seeing a lot of body care entrants. What do you think about it?
I think, and this is something, as I was doing some more research on this, it's this whole idea of the skinification of personal care and beauty has been booming for the past few years. But basically this means skincare inspired ingredients and claims are going beyond the face into other categories. So body care into beauty. So like a hyaluronic acid or glycerin or niacinamide. The whole concept is like upgrades of what you're already using to be a little bit more effective. But this Tower 28 one's a great example where it's treating a certain thing, it's for your body. It's not just cleaning, but it's doing something else. And we've seen this across a lot of different body care products and beauty products as well.
The Tower 28 product, a lot of their advertising was around this being a better alternative to what is typically recommended by, I guess, dermatologists or at least the internet for getting rid of eczema, which is taking a bleach bath.
Yeah. Yeah, it's on the eczema organization's website.
Yeah.
They have a whole PDF about this. A bleach bath sounds crazy.
It sounds crazy. I mean, we should drink bleach to get rid of COVID, so.
Yes. Do not do that.
Bleach bath sounds crazy. So I loved actually that they played into that. This isn't just a better version of a body wash. This is actually a more approachable version of a medical product. I think it's interesting. It's a claim for sure. And I do think that they had some, I don't know about like clinical studies, but they had some studies about this actually being an effective product to treat eczema. But I like that approach. Bobbi Brown's Jones Road Beauty approach is a little bit different. It's not claiming to be like a medical skincare replacement.
No.
It's just better versions of your body lotion or body wash, just all of these products that you would use anyway. And better meaning, like, as you said, more effective ingredients other than just washing your skin, also like improving the texture or quality of your skin.
I think Tower 28 is a great brand.
It is.
We have a lot of their products in our medicine cabinet.
Yeah, it's
great
a lot
brand,
of fun.
great store.
Yeah, their hypochlorous acid is the
they
product
kicked
that
off.
like, yeah, it's a spray that it's supposed to be helpful for treating acne. And they made hypochlorous acid a thing. And this is partly them saying, now you can essentially like bathe in the product that you all became obsessed with in your face. So it is interesting. I think there's like a cynical part of me that's a little, wow, first they occupied our face and now they're like making their way down our whole body, like they being capitalism. I'm like, wow, I had to care about cleaning and now I also have to care that my elbows are smooth. What else do I need to care about? But at the same time, it's just an improved version of something, again, that we're already using. I think it'd feel really different if it was like, you need to add a serum to your elbows, whatever. That would feel different. This is just an upgraded version of things you're using anyway. But I don't doubt that a like clavicle serum or something is gonna come out soon.
Clavicle serum.
You know, I'm just thinking of
Oh
like
my God.
like they're gonna find a way to stake claim on our bodies with something that we don't need, and we're all
Don't give
gonna
them any
be
ideas. Don't give these capitalists any more ideas, Jenna. Come on.
I'll try.
Come on.
I'm full of them.
Let's go back to something that's a little bit more edible. Olive oil. So Cobram Estates, who is Australia's largest olive oil producer, just acquired California Olive Ranch for about $180 million. And by this acquisition, they have just created the US's largest olive oil producer, because Cobram also had maybe 1,000 hectares in California already. And now combined with California Olive Ranches, they have a little over 3,000 hectares of olive oil producing land.
Wow.
It's crazy. And apparently this merger has been in discussions for about 11 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So they initially started conversations back in 2014. And based on the articles that I was reading and some of the quotes, it seems like now was a better time. And it's something we're seeing across olive oil being seen as a healthier alternative, the seed oil debate. I mean, we're even seeing olive oil come into the shot category. And just olive oil is just riding this global wave of wellness and anti-seed oils. And over the past 30 years, olive oil has also been increasing in demand in the US.
Yes.
The rest of the world has had crazy demands for olive oil, but in the US, if you go to there's a US olive oil consumption chart, it starts to spike in the 90s and it's just been going up ever since. And it's going to continue to go up, I think.
Absolutely. What's interesting is I think seed oil debate is a huge piece in olive oil's rise, but the other one is it was a commodity brand that has become a commodity category that has become really buzzy thanks to companies like Graza. And now people are looking for the cooler alternative. It's not just like, oh, I'll just buy the store brand of olive oil anymore. They're more interested in different alternatives. But this piece on US olive oil, I actually think that's kind of like the next wave, because a company like Graza, a lot of its quality claims come from the fact that it is harvested in Spain. A lot of its quality claims are associated with the fact that it's like this Spanish olive oil. But at the same time, if tariffs taught us anything in the last year, the supply chain is very fragile and it can quickly become extremely costly to be importing your product. So domestic brands have an advantage in that respect. And also just like made in America claims, I believe have become like a little bit more popular over the past few years. So I think it'll be interesting to watch specifically like the US domestic olive oil category increase over the next few years. Yeah,
the other thing too is I know from talking to Soria from Brightland that California has some of the best olives and olive oil in the world. Like we produce really good quality olive oil. I don't think Australia's largest producer of olive oil would be doing this if it wasn't good quality. And I just don't think U.S. consumers associate U.S. olive oil production with quality right now.
But interestingly, there was this whole, I don't want to say scandal, but like kind of scandal over a year ago where the olive oil fraud and mislabeling cases hit this record high in the EU. And so there was a lot of fraud around people claiming where their olives were actually sourced in the EU specifically. And as we start to see consumers in the US are just looking for transparency more and more, I think they might be more trusting of something that is domestic and ensuring that where it says it's from on the bottle is where it's from.
Yeah.
So
and
it could go
US,
either way. Yeah.
Right. And apparently California laws around olive oil and olive oil production are very strict and very regulated. So apparently it'll make it easier to prevent fraud. But I think we're going to see olive oil continue to blossom over the next few years.
Absolutely. And it'll be interesting to see if some of these Graza loyalists are open to trying different kinds of olive oil, are open to trying domestic olive oil, or if they're going to keep buying their refillable cans of Graza. I think it could really go either way. But we do have to attribute a lot of credit to Graza for really changing the category and
I think so.
Opening up opportunities for something like this to happen. I literally don't think this merger would have happened if Graza didn't exist, which is such a crazy sentence.
Insane, but accurate.
Amazing what one company can do for an entire category.
It's kind of crazy. Beautiful. Yeah. Well, we've come to the end, Jenna.
Wow. It's been a minute since we just had one of these.
I know, right?
Yeah, a normal podcast recording, and we were like, "Oh no, are we still capable of speaking?"
I think we're still okay. Yeah, we can still yap for
50 plus
a long
minutes.
time. Mm-hmm. Hell yeah! Well, thank you everybody for listening. Make sure you leave a review if you can, subscribe, share the podcast. If you want to email us about anything, you can email us at hello@expresscheckout.co. Make sure you subscribe to our newsletter that goes out every Monday and Friday. You can find that at expresscheckout.co. Follow us on Instagram at expresscheckout. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
See you next week.